This video, I'm going to show you how to unleash the most magnetic, non-attached energy that you can possibly imagine. It's going to show you how to release it from the inside out, stop tuning to other people, stop releasing what is called needy energy, which literally repels that which you want, and it's going to be a game changer for you. Now, the first thing to realize when it comes to non-attached magnetic energy is that it is void of something called neediness. Now, non-neediness is magnetic. Neediness literally repels. Now, the thing to realize about non-needy, non-attached energy is that attachment comes from prior experience where a lot of times as kids, our needs weren't met. So then what we do is we search for it on the outside and want other people to meet the needs to close the loop from childhood. So let me say this another way. Basically what happens is we have these unmet childhood needs that as kids, our just needs weren't met. Maybe it was validation, maybe it was approval. So then what we do is when we're dating people, we're searching for it. We're wondering if they're gonna give it to us. But remember, the more you want something, the more you energetically are saying you don't currently have it. So this is about understanding that of vibrational resonance as well. Now, one of the best ways to also think about non-attached magnetic energy is that one is focused on, when you talk about neediness versus non-neediness, neediness is focused on outcome. It's focused on transaction. It's focused on exchange. When you talk about non-needy energy is not attached to outcome. Non-needy energy is present to the moment. Non-needy energy is in their own frame. The difference between these two energies makes all the difference in the world, and in order to unleash the non-attached magnetic energy, what has to be let go of is the attachment to trying to manipulate the environment. So, for example, for a long time, as I've shared in many of my videos, I was tuning to other people, probably in a certain way too, because my ex-stepmom growing up from 7 to 15, she was somebody that had such a strong frame because she was a narcissist. So it was like my brother and I, in order to get by, we had to be a certain way. We had to stay out of the way, and sometimes we had to be a different way in order to get our own needs met. And in a weird way, I think what that had me do as I grew up is I would tune to other people because in some weird way that felt safe. Even though my dad divorced her when I was 15 years old, there was like something that felt safe about living inside a little box of where somebody tells me what I can and can't do. So subconsciously, it felt familiar for somebody else to dictate what I was and wasn't allowed to do. So after my ex-stepmom left my life at 15, I attracted people into my life to reflect that need. I'd attract girlfriends that were very jealous, managers that were very controlling, other people that were controlling it. Why? Because in a weird way, that felt familiar. I had an attachment to a familiar energy where I felt like I had to fight for my own freedom. Now, in the same way, I think because my ex-stepmom was so strict, she's kind of like having an army sergeant as a stepmom, there was a part of me that believed that in order to get love, I had to be a certain way. I had to please other people. I would have to not make them feel uncomfortable. I'd have to be the most perfect version of myself. And what that led to is that when I was dating people, I would tune my own energy. I would tune my own frame to whatever everyone else wanted me to be, which is a big burden. And in order to get my own childhood needs met, that meant that I had to please other people. That meant that I was attached to what they thought of me. Because if they thought negative of me, that meant I wasn't going to get my needs met. That meant I wasn't going to get approval or validation. So in a weird way, I would then attract people into my life where I would seek their validation and their approval in exchange for me being however, I thought they wanted me to be, for me to please them. So I would get validation and approval in exchange for pleasing and being really nice to them. The people-pleasing mentality. Now, when it comes to non-attached magnetic energy, it's about healing, letting that go, and being safe in your own frame. Now, in order to do this, the thing that changed everything for me is a couple years ago. What happened was I realized that I was tuning to other people to get my own needs met. I realized that even in conversation, like there's so many times I would abandon myself in order to like appear a certain way. And what I eventually had to do was pull my energy back. Literally had to pull my energy back, and I had to become more and more aware of every time I'd be in conversation and I would try to steer the conversation to where it would make me feel comfortable, or trying to be a yes man to certain friends and like stuff like that. The more I became aware of it, the more I could then see like, why the hell am I doing this? And what I realized was that I was living according to these values. Values are what we deem important. They're sort of like beliefs, but they make up the virtue of how we show up in the world. And what happens is most of our values were instilled into us as a kid. And if our needs weren't met as a kid, we then took on some of the values and made it very important to get that of validation, approval, or whatever childhood need we felt wasn't met. So then what happened is we're living according to these outdated values that have simply been on autopilot since childhood. And for myself, I could see that at a certain point in my past, when my ex-stepmom was doing her narcissistic BS stuff, and I was feeling insignificant, I made it very important to feel significant. So I valued significance. I made it very important for me to get other people's validation approval, which is also probably tied to the significance. And that was my North Star. If I could just do all of this, then I would have my needs met, I would feel good enough. And what ended up happening is that was higher on the totem pole than that of authenticity or even vulnerability. And what I realized is that I was abandoning myself in order to meet these values, in order to live and get people's validation or approval or feel significant. And eventually what I did is I kept catching myself enough, and eventually what happened was interesting. I actually got very angry at myself. I got angry at myself for every time I said yes to something I didn't want to do. I got angry at myself for every time I allowed somebody to treat me a certain way. I became mad at myself really because I allowed it to happen. And what I eventually had to do is I was hard on myself for a while. I'm like, why the hell do I keep doing this? And then eventually I made the choice and I said, I'm not living according to these values anymore. And I started to live according to the values that I actually chose out of awareness. So instead of significance, validation, and approval, I started living to the higher values of my own integrity, which was vulnerability and authenticity. Now here's the interesting thing about the approval, validation, significance. All of those values were in place because I felt I was broken. I felt a level of shame. I felt there's something wrong with me. My parents divorced when I was 7 years old. My ex-stepmom came into the picture. My dad allowed her to treat my brother and I like shit. And why? Probably because I'm not good enough. Probably because there's something wrong with me. So for so long, to hide that shame, to hide that level of belief that I'm broken, I became the people pleaser, the person that makes everybody happy, the person that tries to be funny and to get significance in all of this. So it was a desperate attempt for me to avoid the showing people that I'm broken. So then what I did is I found the cure. You want to know what the cure to that is? Can you guess? It's opening up your heart and being vulnerable and actually having the courage to show that maybe I am broken, to go into that. Now, of course, the funny thing is that vulnerability is the ability. Vulnerability. Vulner means it means wound. Ability is the ability to go into the wound. So what I started to do is to realize that even in dating, I used to have very depolarized relationships because I would put someone else on a pedestal or pedestal. Some people correct me when I say pedestal. They're like, it's not pedestal, it's pedestal. But what I would do is I would put them on a pedestal and I would want to do whatever they wanted to do, which of course means that wasn't really in my masculine frame. Oh, this is the way you eat? Okay, let's go to this type of restaurant instead of being like, what do I want? Not to be selfish. It doesn't mean to be selfish to be narcissist, but it means in general, the masculine energy is meant to be directional and to help the feminine feel safe. And I realized I wasn't doing that. So what I started to do is I started to realize what is authentic for me. And I started living according to like showing and actually saying things, even in groups of friends. I'd normally hold myself back from saying certain things because I didn't want to get rejected, or I didn't want to like make people feel like disapproved of me if I said no to something that they wanted me to do. And all of a sudden I started to go inside my body and I started to say, what do I want to do? And I started to actually just express it. And that changed everything with this process, because I started to be the version of me that was not abandoning myself. I started to show my heart. Like, it takes vulnerability to go up and talk to like a girl you're attracted to or a guy you're attracted to. It takes vulnerability to do that because you could get rejected. The old version of me was afraid of the rejection though, and I would wait a long time before showing someone I was dating that I had sexual interest because I didn't want to get rejected. But then eventually what happened is I started to realize that that was me not being authentic. It was me trying to like manipulate. Remember, the name of the game is when you do things to get a certain result, that's manipulation. That's neediness. So you're trying to get someone's validation, someone to please them, someone's approval, someone's significance. Trying to get sex even. Those are all exchanges. I'm going to be nice to you, so you're going to do this thing. Instead of being real, being authentic, being vulnerable, expressing how you feel to someone else. That changes everything. So attached energy is needy. It is also attached to the outcome in the sense that, like, think of this simple analogy right here, expression versus impression. Impression is outcome based. It says, I'm going to impress you. I'm going to make the impression that I'm a good person, that you want to date me. That's attached to outcome. Expression is very different. Expression is in the present moment. Expression is you're doing it because it's who you are. You're expressing something about yourself. So the difference is when you focus less on caring what other people think of you and more on expressing the real you, what you'll find is that you become way more authentic, way less stifled. You're way more present to the moment, and everything in your life then begins to change because you've changed. So with this, realize that you have the ability to tap into this energy right now, and also that this is simply about to stop abandoning yourself and to start instead being in your own present energy and doing things because you want to do them. Another part of this is being present. Now, something that is coming on Monday the 15th is, for the first time, I am opening what is called the Magnetic Mastery Membership. This is a community of like-minded people where we're all focused on becoming the most magnetic versions of ourselves. Every single week, we are going to be meeting via Zoom. We're going to be doing live coaching. We're going to be doing that of accountability groups. We're going to be doing that of different meditations so that we can become the most magnetic version of ourselves from the inside out. So if you want to let go of codependent energy, let go of neediness, if you want to become and unleash the most magnetic, non-attached version of you by being vulnerable, by going after your purpose, by living with courage, by having self-acceptance, by feeling worthy, that's what we're going to be focused on every single week. And for the first time ever, we're opening it up so that if you join, you become what is called a founding member. It means you're one of the first people to join, and you get to help set the energy of the group, because eventually there'll be thousands of people in the group, and you're able to also, it'll be way more intimate to where you're more likely to get coached and a lot of other things. So if you want to join, all you got to do is you can sign up below by clicking up the link, go to, and when and on the 15th, you'll have the ability to join. So if you sign up below, I'll send you the link on the 15th. There'll be 5 days to join. That'll be open enrollment for the founding members. And other than that, I'm super excited. This is a membership that's only $29 a month for weekly live coaching for a community of people. You may even meet people in your own city. There's a place in the app and in the community to check and to see who lives close to you. It's a really cool vibe. I cannot wait. So that comes on that of August 15th. So keep a lookout for it. Other than that, if you want to look and to see the 5 secrets to letting go that make you magnetic AF, check out this video right here. It's one of my most powerful videos. In this video, I want to share you 5 secrets to letting go that will make you more attractive and that will completely transform your life. And when you start applying them, it changes everything, because you start realizing who you really are and you start letting go